Good morning. Good morning. Yo. All right. Today, we got Meta. The metaverse, FTC versus Meta, is getting very spicy. I actually did not pull up the right article, but getting very spicy. Now, here we go. We're going to look more into this. NVIDIA is going to take a $5.5 billion hit due to the H20 ban, which is crazy. AMD's also getting an $800 million hit from theirs. And Figma is filing for IPO confidently, is what everyone keeps saying. They're confidently filing for IPO. I actually don't even have any of my stories up. And we'll also cover. They also sent a cease and desist to Lovable, who's a AI dev tool, kind of like Cursor, over the term dev mode, which is crazy. Like, come on. And it's ironic considering that Figma is technically a design tool and then Lovable is actually a developer tool. Granted, I don't know. Anyways, and then if we have time, we'll take a look at this interview. It's just hella long. It's really long. Oh my gosh, I can't even. Oh, God, dude, I swear, bro. I've been streaming for a while now, and I still make rookie mistakes. I'm unmuted, right? Jesus. And then if we have time, we'll take a look at this interview, just really long, with Phil Spencer. He's kind of, we haven't really heard much from Phil Spencer, especially now considering how Xbox is kind of people are what's going on with Xbox? What's next? So if we have time, we'll take a look at that. Okay, I want to jump right into the Meta versus FTC versus Meta. Let's read this first, and then we'll jump into the Wall Street Journal. And Wall Street Journal has a lot more context. So yesterday we covered how the FTC is suing Meta over specifically over Instagram and WhatsApp, saying that when they bought Instagram in 2012 for $1 billion, that they did it as a way to stop the competition, i.e. Instagram. They bought them instead of trying to compete. Which probably was the case. I agree that they probably back then, there's some emails and stuff that say that. Now, what they're arguing, what the government is arguing, the FTC is arguing, is that the entire market for their social apps consist of two other apps. They consist of they did not do that. Oh my gosh, I don't even have my, bro, what is up with me today, bro? I don't even have my headphones plugged or on a speaker on. Fuck. Oh, we had the Politico article yesterday. Politico, Meta versus FTC. FTX, that's the wrong one, but. Yeah, so I guess I'm kind of on Meta's side is the point, because I think it's politically driven. I think that the actual case that the FTC has may have definitely stood up 12 years ago, 2012, 13 years ago whenever they bought Instagram, but the fact that they're suing now 13 years later over something that happened back then, and they're not taking into consideration the current market landscape now. They don't consider Instagram to be competing with TikTok or YouTube. They say it's like a personal family, kind of like type of social media app, when it's evolved to be much more than that. That's what Facebook and Instagram may have been when they started, but like now they are much more than that. And they compete with other apps that the government didn't exactly say, or like other apps than what the government said. I think I want to find the apps because it's relevant. It's like one of them is like fucking Mayway or MeWe, which I was like, bro, what the? I've never heard of this app. Or did I not? Okay, this is today. No. This is April 10th. God damn it. This always happens. Let's see. Is there like a Politico? Anyway, we'll read it and it'll probably come up. Okay. Mark Zuckerberg predicted Meta's antitrust trial in 2018. And I think a big part of this too, of the narrative, is that Zuckerberg has done this like complete flip-flop from like, I don't know, like typical tech views, I guess, to just like sucking Trump's dick, let's be real. Like straight up, like not even hiding it. And it's kind of disingenuous isn't the right word, just like it's fake. Like it's obviously fake, and I don't think that's coming off in the right way. Like I think it's obviously fake, and like it's hurting him more than helping him. His fucking gold chain, his fuckboy haircut, whatever, like yeah. It's kind of not the it's just such a, considering that he was like a meme for like being a lizard, and then now he's like, it's just like I don't know, it's a weird flip-flop, I guess. But I don't know, I think the entire thing's kind of politically driven. I'm kind of on Meta's side, which is crazy, but yeah, let's read and we'll uncover more details. In 2018, Mark Zuckerberg floated the idea of spinning out Instagram, one of the remedies the Federal Trade Commission is now likely seek in Meta's antitrust trial that began this week. CNBC reported on Tuesday that the comments from the email thread with executives came to light in Washington, D.C. And Zuckerberg has already testified. He testified yesterday, and I guess he's continuing, but it's kind of like a lot. Like it's hours on the stand. And it's like kind of, I don't know, it's uncomfortable, I guess. So, and we read yesterday that he was reluctant to actually testify. I'm beginning to wonder whether the spinning Instagram out of the only structure that will accomplish a number of important goals. Zuckerberg wrote in the email, as calls to break up the big tech company grows, there's a non-trivial chance that we will be forced to spin out Instagram and perhaps WhatsApp in the next 5 to 10 years anyway. Wow, he's like predicting. He's like, I mean, might have to do it anyways. His estimate made 6 years ago ended up being spot on. That's crazy. On the flip side, while most companies resist breakups, the corporate history is that most companies actually perform better after they've been split up. Zuckerberg added in the same email, according to the New York Times. That's so funny, him like rationalizing it. It's Zuckerberg's second day of testimony in the trial, which stemmed from a 2020 government lawsuit against Meta, then still known as Facebook. The FTC argues that the company purchases of Instagram for $1 billion in 2012, 13 years ago, and WhatsApp for $19 billion in 2014 hurt competition. If the trial goes the FTC way, it will likely ask the judge to break up Meta by selling off one or both of the apps. Yeah. It's also weird that they are lumping together Instagram and WhatsApp when like they are very much different apps. Like, they are not in the same market at all. WhatsApp is like in the same market as Discord, more so than, you know, Instagram. Last April, Meta moved to dismiss the case, but U.S. District Judge James Boasberg allowed it to proceed with a narrow scope. Now, this judge, James Boasberg, is the one who is dealing with I think he told, I actually have seen this guy before. He's the one who, did the ruling on the Venezuelan, like, illegal deportation. Yeah, and he's the one who Trump wanted to get impeached too. So, like, this is just like this case is just kind of crazy, I guess. Yeah, men and U.S. immigration customs. Yeah, this is the one who was wrongfully deported illegally, I guess is a weird word to use. Anyway, so this judge is like, it's like, okay, he's kind of, who did Obama put him on? Who appointed him? Yep, Obama. So I guess like the politics here are interesting because they're just such a grab bag. Like, obviously, like, Zuckerberg's been cozying up to Trump, so he's kind of on Trump's side, but like maybe not now. The judge was appointed by Obama, Democrat. The FTC is continuing a case from Lena Khan, the Biden administration, which is very on the complete, you know, diametric opposite of Trump's views. Although the overlapping is that Trump supporters hate big tech, also, like, you know, too, like, alongside you know, like, more left-leaning Democratic types. And so, like, this is just like a very much a grab bag of political views and ideologies all coming into the same court. It's I don't know, it's kind of interesting. And unfortunately, Zuckerberg is like, I guess not unfortunately, but like, Meta's on the chopping block right now, and I still think it's politically driven. I still believe that. And I think we'll look at this other article, or this one. On the stand Tuesday, the Meta CEO reportedly defended the company's Instagram purchase as the result of a standard cost-benefit examination. We're doing a build versus buy analysis, Zuckerberg said. I thought the Instagram was better at that than Facebook's camera app, so I thought it was better to buy them. And this definitely goes against what they kind of some emails have said. Building a new app is hard, he said when asked on the stand why he was intent on buying Instagram. We probably tried building dozens of apps over the history of the company, and the majority of them don't go anywhere. Other details came to light on Tuesday include a 2013 email in which Zuckerberg told executives to block Asian competitors Kakao and WeChat. Yeah, Kakao Talk is Korean, WeChat Chinese, from advertising on Facebook. Oh shit. That's interesting. That's new. Those companies are trying to build social networks and replace us, he wrote. The revenue is immaterial to us compared to any risk. Yeah, he's like, bro, they're going to spend a few bucks advertising. Like, that's worth it to cut off the risk versus let them in, or, you know, let them advertise on the platform. Interesting. Okay, let's actually just read like this article. It's honestly just way more. Okay. Inside Zuckerberg's failed negotiations to end antitrust case. FTC wanted $30 billion. And this is also, the FTC wanted $30 billion to drop the case. Zuckerberg offered much less and hoped Trump would back him up. But like, the fact that they also wanted $30 billion makes me seem like it's so out there that like they didn't want them to pay it. And which makes me think it's politically driven like that. Mark Zuckerberg called the head of the Federal Trade Commission in late March with an offer. Meta would pay $450 million to settle a long-running antitrust case that was about to go to trial. The offer was far from the $30 billion that the FTC had demanded. It was also a fraction of the value of Instagram and WhatsApp, the two apps Meta had bought and were at the heart of the government's case. On the call, Zuckerberg sounded confident that President Trump would back him up. With the FTC, said people familiar with the matter, the billionaire Facebook co-founder had been developing closer ties to Trump. His company donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration and settled a $25 million lawsuit, and had been pressing the president in recent weeks to intervene in the monopoly lawsuit. They also, Zuckerberg changing fact-checking to community notes is also him trying to favor up to Trump. Although I think the community notes aren't like that much worse. So I mean, I don't know. FTC Chairman Andrew Ferguson found the offer not credible and was not ready to settle for anything less than $18 billion in a consent decree. I think what's a consent decree? Is that like admitting? Yeah, okay, without admission of guilt. Wait, is that doesn't seem right. Oh, interesting. It's the most often is such type of settlement in the United States. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, as the trial approached, Meta upped its offer to close the $1 billion that people said. Yeah, Meta upped its offer to close to $1 billion that people said, and Zuckerberg led a frenzied lobbying effort to avoid the FTC trial. It wasn't enough. On Monday, the trial kicked off. The FTC called Zuckerberg, who privately expressed reluctance about taking the stand, to testify for 4 hours. Like, I'd be like, yo, can we get a bathroom break? Save the bathroom break conveniently for a question you need to think about more. Or strategically. Zuckerberg's like pro. Like, he's done all these fucking Senate hearings. He's been roasted. Like, he knows. He's like, yeah, thank you so, like, talking extremely slow. Like, thank you so much for that question. You know, like, thinking about it more. It's like, answer the fucking question, dude. I think, though, in the court, it's different because the judge could just be like, answer the fucking questions, or, you know, you're gone kind of thing. Zuckerberg was back on the witness stand Tuesday, where he faced questioning from an FTC lawyer over whether Facebook had paid $1 billion to buy Instagram to, quote, neutralize a competitor. Asked if he would prefer that Facebook's own camera app would have grown faster, Zuckerberg responded, I guess so, yeah. $1 billion is very expensive. I could just see him saying that, yeah, I guess so. Former FTC chair Lina Khan told the Journal that the company's $450 million settlement offer was delusional. Mark bought his way out of competing, so I'm not surprised that he thinks he can buy his way out of law enforcement too. Why would you? Okay, I mean, yeah, I get that, but also, like, you can. Like, that's just what rich people do, I guess. And you, like, he tried to. Like, the FTC offered him money. It's like, or like, you know, like the FTC said he could pay his way out. So it's like, I don't know. Mark bought his way out of competing, so I'm not surprised that he thinks he can buy his way out of law enforcement too, said Khan, who was nominated by former President Joe Biden. His proposed remedy, like his market strategy, is let my illegal monopoly keep monopolizing. And, like, I thought this was kind of a dumb, like, quote, like, I don't know, just kind of like, I was, like, reading, I admittedly, I did pre-read this, I'm gonna be honest, and I was, like, reading it last night, like, just, like, laughing at, like, thinking about this as being, like, a TV show, and I'm like, this literally sounds like from an episode of Veep or some shit. Like, I was like, this is, like, I don't know. Meta spokeswoman Danny Lever said the company is prepared to win trial. Straight up. We haven't been shy about explaining why it doesn't make sense for the FTC to bring a case to trial that requires it to prove something every 17-year-old in America knows is absurd that Instagram doesn't compete with TikTok, she said. Yeah, and that is the underpinning of the FTC's case, is that Instagram doesn't compete with TikTok, and instead they compete with the non-short style social networks. But it's that's come on, it's that's obviously not the case. Will not comment on an ongoing trial, said Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. The FTC had initially sued what was then called Facebook in December 2020 in the final weeks of the Trump administration. Oh, okay, so it was Trump did start it. Okay. Excuse me. Accusing the company of buying and freezing out all small startups to choke competition. The lawsuit was thrown out by a judge in 2021, and the FTC, under Lina Khan, presented a more detailed case later that year. The suit accused Facebook of having mounted a deliberate strategy to eliminate threats to its monopoly. Meta has pushed back on the FTC's charge, saying it competes with several other services, including YouTube and X. Yeah. And TikTok. And noting that the FTC had cleared the WhatsApp and Instagram deals more than a decade ago. And this is also not a good look, because the FTC cleared them, and so it's okay, so they're flip-flopping, but it's you're the one who told us that we could do it, so it's kind of just weird, again, which makes you think it's politically motivated. As the trial approached, the two sides had inched closer together. Meta had opened with an offer to make changes to some of its policies. The FTC countered with $30 billion, the people familiar with the talk said, a fine that would be an order of magnitude larger than its record. Again, it's come on, they didn't want a settlement. In 2019, the FTC imposed a $5 billion fine on Meta, at the time its largest fine ever imposed on a company for violating consumer privacy. A person familiar with Meta's position in the latest negotiations said the company's offers reflected how weak the company believes the FTC cases to be. A person familiar with Meta's position in the latest negotiations said the company offers reflect. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, yeah, so I did not read this right, but they think, Meta thinks the FTC's case is really weak, is what it seems like, and that them offering $450 million was such a take back that, but it just shows that they just really don't think that the case is going to go through. So I guess theoretically, let's entertain the other side. So Zuckerberg and Meta, they probably gave $450 million thinking the case was weak, and then that they would be okay, cool, yeah, that's actually, they're okay, fine, we'll take it because we actually don't think we could fully win the case. The FTC doesn't think they could win it, so they're we'll take anything. That does not seem to be the case. It not necessarily that the case isn't strong, but that they don't want any money, I guess. But maybe, I don't know, I think the case is weak still. In recent months, Zuckerberg and his top aides have repeatedly met with Trump, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and other administration officials. White House aides said Meta has been relentless in trying to get the case dropped, bringing in a group of officials beyond Zuckerberg that include Meta Chief Global Affairs Officer Joel Kaplan, Head of U.S. Public Policy Kevin Martin, and Brian Baker, Zuckerberg's outside political advisor. Zuckerberg himself visited the White House 3 times this year. I think it's crazy, how you have an outside political advisor. I guess when you're such a public figure, it's you need it's oh, where's I have a personal political consultant. It's bro, you're a fucking tech company. But you just, he's just got his hands everywhere. Trump at various points appeared more open to striking a deal with Meta and Zuckerberg, directing staff to work on a deal and asking questions about how a settlement would work, according to people familiar with the matter. I'm sure he's at least entertaining it. He's oh, but he gave me a lot of good stuff. I want to pat his back because he patted mine. That's definitely not how Trump works. Trump just wants everything for himself. Let's be real. But Trump was also getting an earful from the other side. On April 8th, the new FTC chair Ferguson held a meeting with the president in the Oval Office to discuss the matter. Also present in the meeting were Gail Slater, the head of the Justice Department's antitrust division, Mike Davis, one of the key antitrust advisors to Trump, Willis, and Ferguson's chief of staff. At the meeting, earlier reported by Semaphore, the group made its case for Trump not to intervene on Meta's behalf and let the case go to trial. It got Trump's blessing to go to trial during the meeting, said one of the people. I could see Trump, like them, like giving to Trump, and Trump just be like, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, let's go. And like, that's it. Like, okay, cool. Yeah. It's like he said yes, like, let's just fucking go. So before he changes his mind. For Zuckerberg, who spent tens of millions of dollars in recent years aiming to rebuild his relationship with Trump, the failure to reach a deal pre-trial suggests he isn't getting much return on his investment. Some people around Trump have warned the president that Zuckerberg's MAGA rebrand is disingenuous. Yes, it is. It is. In the fall 2021, Zuckerberg and his wife hired Baker, a Republican strategist, to explain to Trump aides and Republican officials that the $400 million the pair had given for election infrastructure in 2020 hadn't been used for partisan purposes. Conservatives had alleged the spending was used to bolster turnout on the left, a claim that Zuckerberg and election officials denied. After the assassination attempt on Trump, Zuckerberg publicly praised the candidate's response as, quote, badass, and the two spoke by phone. He traveled to Mar-a-Lago twice after the election, including for a dinner with Trump, and attended the inauguration in January, directing Meta to give $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund. That month, Meta also paid $25 million to settle a lawsuit that Trump had brought years earlier over the platform's suspension of his account. Zuckerberg also made changes to the companies to the company that conservatives have long sought, including dialing back its content moderation policies. That's the kind of community notes change. The MAGA wing of the GOP has continued to criticize Meta's Zuckerberg and has blamed the company for Trump's 2020 election loss. This like entire saga is just kind of crazy, and I guess it really just shows like the kind of like rich people doing, you know, like CEO, like, you know, it's like Meta has so much power. Like it's like, you know, what's their market cap? Let me finish reading. We'll finish reading this and look. In an interview with Fox Business the morning the trial kicked off, Ferguson nodded to that line of attack. Meta's acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp had given the company a tremendous amount of power we all saw on full display in 2020, which is literally them obviously coming out and saying that it's politically driven, in my opinion. It's like, okay, you're using it to go back to the election that Trump lost. Like, grow up. Like, he fucking lost. Like, get over it. Like, who cares? He's president now. Like, and so that's what this case is about. It's about addressing the power of Meta and making sure that the situation we had in 2020 can never arise again. But it's like, what situation? You know? But I think, though, it just, like, you know, it's kind of just interesting to see how, you know, the, like, these elite, like, type of people are trying to, like, do business. It's like, you know, ultimately, like, Zuckerberg isn't worried about himself. He's more so worried about the company, but the fact that he's actually kind of worried and that has been kind of courting Trump, giving these donations, making, like, changing his physical appearance, like, he's doing things, like, on purpose, and it's just kind of all, like, very interesting and weird to see this. And then now, you know, that, like, this case is actually coming to fruition and he actually has to, like, defend it. It's like, what was even the point of all of that now? It's like, you know, it's like, I'm sure he's, like, pissed. Zuckerberg's, like, pissed, like, fuck. What is Meta's market cap? Yeah, $1 trillion. It's like these companies are just so powerful, you know, like big tech is like, they're literally larger than countries. Like, you know, $1 trillion, like, market cap, like, that is just an insane amount of wealth. Okay, let's look at this. Because this was this morning, I believe. Yeah. On the stand, Zuckerberg says TikTok is a major competitive threat. The Meta chief executive testified for a third day in a landmark antitrust trial. Okay. Mark Zuckerberg, chief executive of Meta, took the witness stand in a landmark antitrust trial for the third day, saying on Wednesday that the video app TikTok has emerged as a serious competitor in social networking. Obviously, I mean, in a friendly exchange led by lawyers for Meta, Mr. Zuckerberg said that the fast growth of the Chinese app was probably the highest competitive threat for Instagram and Facebook over the last few years. Mr. Zuckerberg's lawyers were trying to poke holes in the case. Federal Trade Commission. Okay, so they're doing this on purpose, I think, because they need to prove that TikTok exists because I think the entire argument for Meta is that the definition of the market that the FTC has is wrong. And I think that's a lot of times what the antitrust people argue. I don't even know what to look up. I shouldn't say that usual, but it seems like, I've heard that argument before, I guess. And so I could see that being an easy way to go after or to invalidate the case. And so Zuckerberg's trying to say yeah, TikTok is it's a big competitor, they're growing fast, they're really serious. And so they need to kind of boost that up in a sense to prove to the judge. And this is also a bench trial, which we obviously, if you're a GTRP fan, you know what that means. But it's just a quick trial that the judge has full discretion over determining it. And so that's also something to consider. So I think they're, trying to paint the picture of TikTok is their actual competitor, not this fucking Mayway app or whatever the fuck. MeWe. This app, which I've never heard of until this case. It's a privacy social network app. I don't know. Yeah, Mr. Zuckerberg's lawyers are trying to poke holes in the case. Federal Trade Commission v. Meta Platforms, which went to trial on Monday, said the FTC has accused the social media company, which was previously known as Facebook, of acquiring Instagram and WhatsApp when they were tiny startups in a buy or bury strategy to snuff out competition. Meta's core function is connecting friends and family, making Snapchat its only serious social competitor, the FTC has said. Yeah, and this is what the connecting friends and family is the outdated view. It's that may have been what the app started as, but now it's evolved into be much more than that. And them that's still thinking, I was this is such a boomer point of view. And no offense to conservative Republicans, but they kind of proved this over the years that they don't actually understand how the internet works. Let's be real. Of Google going up, Sundar Pichai, CEO, going up on there. Meta, Zuckerberg's been up here many times, but his are actually more serious. But it's just a boomer point of view of thinking that that's what the only use of that social media is now. It's I think it's more so now it just happens to be your friends and family are on there, but you just use it for entertainment and learning or whatever else you use it for. And then family just happens to be on there. It might have started out as connecting with fans and family, only following friends and family. It's not that anymore. And Snapchat they do compete with Snapchat in some ways, but they also compete with TikTok, YouTube, arguably Netflix. That's probably too much, but yeah, the fact that they're just Snapchat's your biggest competitor, it's what? Mr. Zuckerberg countered during this more than 7 hours of testimony so far this week that Meta faces significant competition in the world of social networking, including from TikTok and Apple. Yeah, and iMessage. Connecting friends and family to advertisers in all our groups. Yeah. I don't know. I'm on Meta's side still. I think that the case is just, it's politically driven. I think that the FTC's argument is just weak. Because, yeah, it's how could you say that WhatsApp, WhatsApp competes with iMessage? It's not it doesn't compete. It competes with Discord. It's but also Instagram it competes with TikTok. It 100% does. It does. If it doesn't, then that's like, it's like you like, I don't know. I just think the argument's very bad for the FTC. On Wednesday, he said Meta's addition of a short video feature known as Reels on Instagram and Facebook was in large part a response to TikTok's rise. Obviously, like, users continue to engage more on TikTok than with his apps, he said. Oh, yeah, so essentially, I wish I could find the article I read yesterday. I just can't remember. Politico, FTC versus Meta. Essentially, the FTC is suing Meta, saying that they don't have this little list the apps. The FTC is saying that Meta has a monopoly on connecting friends and family apps that connect friends. They're like, social media that connects friends and family. And they say that the only people in the market are Instagram, Snapchat, some other app called fucking MeWe right here, or Mayway, I don't know how to say it, and that's it. But like, that's obviously their Instagram competes with TikTok, they compete with YouTube, with Shorts, and WhatsApp doesn't compete with any of those things. They compete with fucking iMessage. And so that's what the government is saying. And the fact that they wanted $30 billion, which is the highest ever that they asked before was like $5 billion, I think, from Meta. So the fact that this is like 6x their highest one before makes it feel like they actually didn't even want a settlement, and that they just wanted it is politically driven. And then to end it here, it says, in an interview with Fox Business this morning, the trial kicked off. Ferguson, who's the FTC chair, nodded to that line of attack. Meta's acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp had given the company a tremendous amount of power we all saw on full display in 2020. Like, they're still pulling it back to the election and back in 2020, guys. Like, grow up. Move on. It's like, I was like, I've never thought I'd be defending fucking Meta this much. And so in that case, that's what this case is about. It's about addressing the power of Meta and making sure the situation we had in 2020 can never arise again. So, yeah. That's kind of where we are. And the judge is Boasberg, who has been, he's the one who's ruled that the Venezuela, the illegal deportation to like El Salvador, Venezuela, the guy who was like illegally deported was illegal. He ordered like them to come back. He was appointed by Obama. So like there's so many different political forces like in here, and it's a bench trial. Like, yeah. Here we go. Okay. Zuckerberg encounter yeah, and so users continue to engage more on TikTok than with apps, he said. Yeah, so in 2020, Trump put forth a lawsuit. They tried to sue it, and then a judge dismissed it. And then Lena Khan under Biden, who's FTC, head of FTC under Biden, put a more detailed case forward, and this is a continuation of that case, although they've clearly changed it to be more like politically aligned, quote unquote. I guess, I don't know. TikTok is still bigger than either Facebook or Instagram, and I don't like it when our competitors do better than us, Mr. Zuckerberg said. Judge James E. Boasberg, who's presiding over the case in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, must decide whether Meta broke the law. The government plans to seek a breakup of the company if it wins. The government's case could be challenging to prove, legal experts have said. Yeah, because the government's case is weak. Partly because it seeks to unwind mergers that were approved by regulators years ago. And that's another thing. The FTC approved the acquisition of WhatsApp and Instagram previously, and they're suing 13 years later. It's like, it's too late. Like, Meta bought Instagram for $1 billion in 2012, and 2 years later, WhatsApp for $19 billion. The FTC's case against Meta is the latest tech antitrust lawsuit to go to trial and could help set precedent for other cases. I mean, it could set precedent. I think it could set precedent in the sense that this is just politically driven and the argument's weak. So, like, the FTC actually has to have, like, more solid cases, like, evidence going forward. I don't know. Last year, the Justice Department won its antitrust case against Google for monopolizing internet search. A federal judge is set to hear arguments over remedies, including a potential breakup, next week. Oh shit, okay. We'll have to cover that. The department also completed a separate trial against Google over accusations that it monopolized ad technology, which a federal judge is still deciding. And it's like I think Google Chrome is somewhere in there too. And Android. Because the Epic Games won against Google, suing them. The Justice Department also sued Apple, and the FTC has sued Amazon, accusing the companies of antitrust violations. Mr. Zuckerberg, who found Facebook in his Harvard dorm room in 2004 as the government's marquee witness, and was called first to the stand on Monday. Lawyers for the FTC presented him with binders full of dated emails and internal communication about his acquisition strategy. One of the emails from 2018 suggested that he knew that Meta needed to prepare for antitrust concerns. As calls to break up the big tech companies grow, there is a non-trivial chance that we'll be forced to spin out Instagram and perhaps WhatsApp in the next 5 to 10 years anyway, Mr. Zuckerberg wrote. It's crazy. But I guess though, like, thinking about it from his perspective, it's not crazy to think that, like, you know, once you start growing to a point, like, you're like, okay, yeah, like, we kind of have to think about this. And, like, you know, especially as a business where it's like you have shareholders, you need to mitigate risk. Like, it's like having like a red team style, like, war room of like what could go wrong. Let's always have a plan for what could go wrong. Like that I don't know, that doesn't seem like crazy. In court on Tuesday, he said, I feel like it's good business. Let's be real. In a court on Tuesday, he said, I just wanted to be mindful that we should have a strategy that is creating the most value for the people we're trying to serve, taking into account the direction that politics seemed to be telling you at the time. That we should have a strategy that is creating the most, I mean, like, this is like corporate speak, but like, yeah, I don't think having a strategy is crazy. Taking into account the direction of politics seemed to be telling you at the time. And in 2018, it was like this is Trump actually. But I guess like leading up to that, you know, I'm sure there's been a lot more antitrust tech lawsuits, and so he's just kind of like top of mind. Legal experts say the FTC's volume of internal communication evidence was compelling. These documents are exactly what the government needed, said Kenneth Ditzner, partner at Crowell and Mooring, and the former lead attorney in the government's successful antitrust case against Google. From Zuckerberg's own mouth, the documents show he had an interest back then to buy a competitor. I know, but like, I don't know, to me that the fact that it happened 13 years ago and then you're trying to sue now saying back then, it's like, I just feel like the arguments are kind of weird. So, all right, this continues. This saga has been crazy, actually. So, like, if like there is a lot of stakes on the line for Zuckerberg, because like potentially he might lose Instagram and WhatsApp, and then after that, bro, like Instagram is like way better than Facebook. I feel like now, like if he's just left with fucking Facebook, like after all of this, like, bro, you bet your ass Facebook is getting a fucking restyling and like making it more trendy with fucking, you know, everyone. Like Instagram is like the, you know, more of the trendsetter platform versus like Facebook. No offense, it's kind of like boomers. I actually literally just saw this like short that popped up, and it was like, my side hustle on Facebook that makes me like $1,000 a month. And he's like, and the guy's like, you know, like everyone has to serve those old people on Facebook. Like they like memes too. So he like runs like Facebook pages for like old people, and that's out on Facebook. And like, that's like, that fucking is like sums everything up. Let's be real. So yeah, this is crazy. I think the Boasberg is kind of the wild card here, because I feel like he has every interest to, considering he's appointed by Obama and assuming he has democratic views, he's probably not inclined to side with Meta, but also considering how he fucking hates Trump, he's also not inclined to, go with the FTC. Actually, this is probably the best judge to have for this if we want a neutral answer, actually. I wonder if he's done any other antitrust cases. Bro, he ordered the emails. How'd I miss this? These emails were requested by Judicial Watch, a conservative legal group, and Trump tax returns. Bro, I think Meta Meta got so fucking lucky. JG Wentworth 877 catch now. Class action. Oh, it's a class action. Oh yeah, this is the Venezuelan. American oversight versus headset. A pending law in the United States Court for District of Columbia concerns an allegation that the officials in Trump administration unlawfully used the encrypted signal. Oh, okay. Dude, this judge is like he's in the center of it all. Okay. Let's swap to NVIDIA here. What is this? OpenAI's says newest AI model can think with images, understanding diagrams and sketches. That's like a little different. Oh, okay. O3. Oh, wait. How the fuck did I miss this, bro? Like, I literally scrolled through Twitter before starting stream just in case that something was happening like that today and I wouldn't miss it. How the fuck do I always miss these? The other day, like, while I was streaming, they released GPT 4.1. Whatever, we'll cover it tomorrow. Like, I already have today's topics picked out. It's in the title, like, whatever. Okay. So, I guess more about what Trump is doing. We got a ban on H20 exports. Honestly, the tariffs have just been fucking so confusing, and like every day there's a different exemption and like a different retaliation, blah blah blah. I don't know. So I thought there was an exemption to the to chips, especially going to Japan. I think Japan, it doesn't tariff chips. Like they're like, hey, we still need chips. So, but they them and AMD, I think, lost money. Let's read. NVIDIA said Tuesday will take quarterly charge of about $5.5 billion tied to exporting H20 graphics card processing units to China and other destinations. The stock slid more than 6% in extended trading. This was like yesterday evening, but it's down 7.7% today. Which sucks. On April 9th, the US government told NVIDIA it would require a license to export the chips to China and a handful of other countries, the company said in a filing. The disclosure is the strongest sign so far that NVIDIA's historic growth could be slowed by increased export restrictions on its chips, which the US government says can be used to create supercomputers for military uses. I mean, they're not wrong, but it's AI, let's be real. NVIDIA is scheduled to report fiscal first quarter results on May 28th. Got a while. During President Joe Biden's administration, the U.S. restricted artificial intelligence chip exports in 2022, and then updated the rules the following year to prevent the sale of more advanced AI processors. The H20 is an AI chip for China that was designed to comply with U.S. export restrictions. Oh, I was wondering, because I was like, why? I guess like, can they not just distribute? Oh, I guess do people think it's H2O? Does the search think it's H2O? I guess I just want to know like how this differs. What is the IFP? Think tank for accelerating scientific technology, industrial progress. Oh shit! All right, I'm bookmarking this place. Market research. Because I was like, why can't if we're having such a large chip shortage in the United States, like why can't they just like offer to sell these then to United States based customers? If anything, I feel like you could charge more now they're in America. The H20 chip in China, it generated an estimated $12 billion to $15 billion in revenue in 2024. Okay, so I mean it was a solid chunk. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said the company's last quarterly earning calls in February that the revenue from China had dropped to half of pre-export control levels. Huang warned that competition in China is growing, and for the second straight year, NVIDIA listed Huawei as a competitor in its annual filing. Wow. Huawei's just like a big conglomerate now. Like, they make like devices, they make like telecommunication gear, they make fucking cars, I swear. Like, China's NVIDIA's fourth largest region by sales after US, Singapore. What? Wow. That's crazy. Singapore. I guess Singapore has a lot of data centers. I think Singapore is like, that's where like TikTok, ByteDance, which Chinese company has like, keeps like American data, quote unquote. Like that's what they say. And so maybe like maybe there's a lot of data centers there, which I thought Singapore's like has like hell expensive electricity. Which is weird. Anyways, and Taiwan, that makes sense. According to the company's annual report, more than half of its sales went to U.S. companies in its fiscal year that ended in January. I mean, still majority American. NVIDIA's H20 chips is comparable to the H100 and H200 AI chips used in the US and other countries, but has slower interconnection speeds and bandwidth. It's like, it's just a nerfed chip. It's based on previous generation of AI architecture called Hopper, introduced in 2022. NVIDIA is now focused on selling its current generation of AI chips called Blackwell. So I guess like it's kind of like, why would you want this H20 chip when they could give, when you could get a Blackwell, like, which is way better. So maybe they are just gonna have to sell these at a discount. Because like maybe NVIDIA will keep them for internal use, but like, bro, they probably have fucking Blackwell, which is like just way better, way more efficient. Yeah, I don't know. DeepSeek, the Chinese company whose competitive AI model R1 unveiled early this year up in markets, used H20 chips in its research. Oh. In addition to the existing Chinese export controls, NVIDIA also faces new restrictions on what it can export starting next month under AI diffusion rules, first proposed by the Biden administration. NVIDIA has contended that further controls on its chips would stifle competition and potentially even erode U.S. competitiveness in technology. Yeah. Yeah, because I think you have to think about, it says the company previously said it moved some of its operations, including testing and distribution, out of China after the 2022 export controls. Yeah, there's like a balance you need with like regulation, or like sanctions, whatever, regulations, at least with like another company or country, where you don't want to make it super easy for them to import everything. But you also don't want to make it like extremely hard to the point where they don't even care and they're just going to build up their own internal industry and then just like disregard like importing at all. And that's kind of what China has been doing, where it's like they like their own homegrown chips now with like SMIC is like, you know, they're just kind of like getting like slowly getting to the level of like and what NVIDIA has, and they're like, we don't even need them anymore. Or they just smuggle them in black market style, you know, the H100s, Blackwells, and it's just like it doesn't even matter. Which that we've covered on stream here, that's what's it is happening. So it's like I don't know. They must need them though if they're still buying them. So I guess why can't NVIDIA just apply for the license and then just like export all the chips? Okay, at the company's annual conference last month, when asked about Chinese export controls, Wang said NVIDIA's works to comply with the law, but he also noted about half of the world's artificial intelligence researchers are from China, and many of those work at US-based AI labs. Dang. In the AI 2027 report, they theorized that like every big AI company, mainly OpenAI, has Chinese spies working for them, and they're essentially just telling them, just relaying everything back to China. And I kind of believe that. Like, I believe that is like could happen or is happening now. Like, I mean, that's I feel like that's nothing really new. Like corporate espionage. I mean, this is like real spying. This isn't even corporate espionage. This is like real spying. But we just covered deal or Ripple versus deal, or not Ripple. I don't know, the corporate espionage like HR case. NVIDIA shares have dropped 16% this year, largely due to President Donald Trump's announcement of widespread tariffs on trading partners. While exemptions have been made on various electronic products, including smartphones, computers, and semiconductors, Trump and some officials said over the weekend that the reprieve was temporary and part of plans to apply separate tariffs to the sector. Yeah, bro, it's like, bro, make up your fucking mind. Jesus, bro. Shares of Advanced Micro Devices (AMD) declined more than 7% in after-hours trading on Tuesday following NVIDIA's closure. AI chipmaker Broadcom fell almost 4%. Dang. All right, now let's look at AMD. Let's actually look at. I want to look at I don't know. I want to look at Intel stock. Like, Intel stock can't go down anymore. Like. it's not as much. I swear though, their market cap is getting to be below like the amount of like money that like their market cap is $83 billion. Like they're getting to the point where it's like the cash they have is the exact amount that their market cap is, or the equipment that they have. Their assets are the market cap because the company itself is just worthless otherwise. ASML also had earnings today. ASML makes the equipment to make chips. Yeah, they had earnings. It was down. I think ASML is still probably good long term. Like they're in a category of one essentially, or they're number one in a very hard to break into industry. They've been down a lot 1 year. This like investor guy I follow, Joseph Carlson, he's bought into ASML like heavily recently, but he's like a long-term investor. He's like he's like long-term value investor, dividend investor. So yeah, I mean the market's just down in general. Seems like. Yeah, Cloudflare's up actually. I'm sorry, this is such a side tangent. Why are they up today? Oh. Upgrades. Analysts upgraded Cloudflare on AI traction, improving deal pipeline. But this gives a different picture. All right. Let's look at AMD now. AMD expects $800 million charge due to U.S. license requirements for AI chips. Now, this is much less than NVIDIA's $5 billion. $5.5 billion. But it's still, a hit nonetheless. AMD says the U.S. government's license control requirements for exporting AI chips to China and certain other countries may have a material impact on its earnings. If AMD doesn't successfully obtain a license, the company could be on the hook for roughly $800 million in inventory. Why would they not successfully obtain a license though? Like, it's like NVIDIA and AMD, like they're like the largest American chip manufacturers. Like, why would they not? Or like chip companies. I guess they don't really make their own chips. Why would they not? Yeah, hooked roughly $800 million in inventory purchase commitments, and related reserve charges. It said in a filing with SEC on Wednesday. According to AMD, the new export rules apply to the company's MI308 GPUs. On April 15, 2025, AMD completed its initial assessment of a new license requirement implemented by U.S. government for export of certain semiconductor products to China, including Hong Kong and Macau, and D5 countries. Don't know what that means. AMD wrote in the filing, the export control applies to AMD's MI308 products. The company expects to apply for licenses, but there's no assurance that the license will be granted. AMD shares are down 6%. US's new imposed export controls impacting a number of chip makers, including AMD's chief rival NVIDIA. Yeah. Dang. Multiple government officials have been calling for stronger export controls on US built GPUs, allowing China-based companies to obtain these chips. Particularly AI companies would threaten the US dominance in AI, as well as national security, they argue. A statement provided by Reuters yesterday, U.S. Commerce Department spokesperson said the license requirement is in service of the President's directive to safeguard national and economic security. Yeah, this sucks for AMD and any chip company. But I do wonder if I haven't really like read anything that's like gives a good solution on like how we can compete with China in the AI race. Like I really just don't know, I guess. Like, cause it's like just chopping them off like doesn't do anything. Obviously we're not going to collaborate, let's be real. The government like wanting to like centralize things in the like our economy, like American government, would be way too much of an overstep for people's like comfort. Trump canceled the CHIPS Act. He doesn't want to give like handouts. Like I don't really know. The tariffs like aren't working. Like that's plane is in shambles. Like fucking he canceled all this like scientific research. Like what do they expect to do? Like what are they gonna do? We'll see. Like how did where does how did I miss this? Okay. A Republican for New York governor. That's interesting. Yeah, I actually wish. Oh, okay. So we're gonna read this real quick. I was like, I wish I actually read this instead of the other one. Let's read this, and then we'll actually talk about Figma, Figma IPOing. NVIDIA is now the biggest U.S. China bargaining chip. Bans on sales of H20 chips calls into question the ability to continually beat Wall Street's lofty expectations. NVIDIA's position in artificial intelligence computing is strong enough that even the company's bottom shelf chips have plenty of demand. The trade war isn't proving to be a good thing. Bro, the font seems so tiny compared to fucking TechCrunch. Is that now? The company's share price fell hard Wednesday morning after NVIDIA told investors the US government now requires a license for it to sell its H20 chips in China and a handful of other countries. The company said this will lead it to take a current quarter $5.5 billion charge related to inventory and purchase commitments for the chip. It's interesting that they're calling it like a charge. It's probably like finance talk, but I've never heard it called that. The inventory charge indicates about $13 billion in actual H20 sales, according to Tim Akuri of UBS. Ah, dang. Actually, way more. NVIDIA generated $115 billion in data center revenue in its fiscal year that ended in January, and is projected to do about $182 billion in sales for that segment this year. Walling off. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is the geographic market. China, rest of world. I mean, it's still like a good chunk, you know, but I wish they actually showed I wish they showed US and then the rest of the world. Although the H20 chip isn't a huge part of NVIDIA's sales, it will hurt the company's ability to continually beat and raise Wall Street expectations, the way it has done for at least the last 3 years. Investors are looking for a 56% jump in revenue for the current fiscal year. The company reports fiscal first quarter results in May. 56%? Shit. NVIDIA designed the H20 chip to comply with existing US export controls, limit sales of advanced AI processors to Chinese customers. That meant the chip's capabilities are significantly degraded. Morgan Stanley analyst Joe Moore estimated the H20 chips is about 75% below 75% below that of NVIDIA's H100 families. Holy shit, bro, these are so nerfed. That was the company's top of the line AI chip 2 years ago. But the inability to sell even low performance chips into the Chinese market shows how the trade war will scramble its business. NVIDIA is now caught between the world's two superpowers as they jockey to take lead in AI development. Chicken jockey. Just kidding. I'm watching too much Moon. Just fucking. A particular note is the fact that the news of the effective ban came just a day after NVIDIA announced they plan to invest as much as $500 billion in an effort to manufacture AI supercomputers in the US. That move was clearly intended to curry favor with President Trump, who has been pushing US companies to move more manufacturing here. Okay, CEOs have to take lesson now. Trump, you cannot trust Trump. Like, fucking Zuckerberg said all this shit, then Trump, fucked him over. Jensen Huang is like, we'll build... It's on, like, Jensen Huang did the right route, where he's like, instead we'll invest in America, not like just fucking personal favors of Trump like Zuckerberg is doing. And even then, he's like, Trump's like, no, I don't think that's enough. Like, or just like, I don't care. And so it's like, bro, you're making enemies on the home, in their home territory now. More than, people already hate him for fucking tariffs. And a plethora of other reasons. Rightfully so. Like, fuck. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang even attended a dinner with Trump. Okay, so he's with Trump at Mar-a-Lago earlier this month, which spurred a media report claiming that the White House was backing off its plans to ban H20 sales in China. But an escalating trade war isn't a great backdrop for America's top chip company by selling a lot of its goods into China. $500 billion apparently only goes so far these days. Literally, bro. Literally. Yeah, bro, this is crazy. I don't know what the fuck is happening in the economy. Let's be real. Okay, let's cover some Figma news and then we'll go from there. So Figma, I like Figma. I don't use it as much anymore because I switched to the Affinity suite, but it's like a vector design tool, mainly using like UI. But Adobe offered to buy them a few years ago, and I think antitrust. Yeah, here we go. It says we'll just read the article. Just giving background, but it's like they always cover the background in the article. Figma ignores the fear, files for paperwork for IPO. Design software startup Figma announced Tuesday it had filed its confidential paperwork for an IPO. We won't know more until paperwork becomes public, which best case scenario would be in about a month. However, with the stock market in groundhog mode, seeing its shadow with every new gyration of the Trump administration's trade policies and tariffs, pursuing an IPO right now is surprising, even at an exploratory level. Yeah, Klarna and StubHub and CoreWeave, who we covered previously. CoreWeave recently IPO'd. Klarna was going to IPO, but then I think they're like a little bearish on it. Klarna and StubHub, two potential blockbuster tech IPOs that were humming along last month, both hit pause button in early April after the stock market crashed on the tariff news. They have not yet rescheduled. IPOs in general have just been down. While Figma is working on an IPO, that doesn't mean we'll proceed in the usual timeline, which is often 4 to 6 weeks after confidential paperwork has been accepted. Figma, which also makes collaborative software and web applications for designers, Figma has FigJam, and it's by far the best like canvas quote like whiteboarding tool I've ever used. It's just there's no dark mode. That's literally the thing that I can't get over. It's like fucking just white background, like bare white, burning my retinas every time I use it. Like, and they actually make a tool to make slides, which I haven't really used, but last May, it was valued at $12.5 billion after it completed a tender offer that allowed existing shareholders to cash out some of their stake. Adobe, yes, and this is the big saga, attempted to buy Figma for $20 billion, but that deal fell through in 2023 after regulatory pushback against the deal in Europe and the United States. And also notably, there was a, I don't know what it's called, but like, there's like a lock-in where if Adobe couldn't buy Figma, that they owed Figma $1 billion. And so Figma just got a fucking $1 billion after that was canceled from Adobe because the government said that they can't buy them. I was like, bro, what a fucking deal for Figma. I mean, like, maybe not the deal, but I think it's good that Adobe didn't fight Figma because Adobe products are shit now. Like, that's why I don't use it. That's why I'm using Affinity Designer and shit, because I refuse to use Adobe for various reasons. So I think it's overall good for the design community that Adobe didn't gobble up Figma and just put their bullshit, you know, on Figma. So I don't know. I think it's fine. I was happy for that. The company is backed by venture capital from Sequoia Capital, Index Ventures, Greylock, Kleiner Perkins, which investors that sit on its board, along with a long list of other outfits, including Andreessen, Horowitz, and IVP. Figma find clear about it. Yeah, this will be interesting to watch. I don't know. Is Canva stock, are they public? Or is Canva IPOing? Canva's not completed its IPO offering. Oh, it's not good. The company hired Kelly Sugwell for its chief financial officer. Okay. Why is this? How to buy Canva stock before its IPO? Have they talked about IPOing? What is this website? Like, or like what? Anyways. Okay, maybe they have. It's not loading. Huh. Interesting. Okay, and then yeah, then there's this saga. The fucking bro, like this is like on Twitter it was like designers versus fucking programmers, you know, programmers. Like all the fucking like tech bros were like, fuck Figma, like fuck you, this is like horrible. Like I actually don't know that. It just all the programmers were just like shitting on Figma. I don't think anyone's like designers are like defending Figma, but yeah, because Lovable. I tried Lovable. It was just whatever. Like they're all kind of the same. It's like an AI coding program, just like Cursor, which we kind of messed around with yesterday. Send a cease and desist over the term dev mode. We may be witnessing the makings of a new tech industry feud between competitors. Figma sent a cease and desist letter to popular no-code AI startup Lovable. Figma confirmed a TechCrunch. They're just like owning it. The letter tells Lovable to stop using the term dev mode for a new product feature. Figma, which also has a feature called dev mode, successfully trademarked that term last year. They trademarked their term dev mode? What the fuck? I hate fucking, bro. Jack Dorsey said we need to repeal all IP law. I'm fucking getting there. Let's be real. I actually said that we need, in a Technonomicon, we need to take a look at copyright and IP law, especially in the face of AI. But this is like bullshit. Like, no offense. Like, I hate this, like, shit like this. What's wild is that dev mode is a common term used in many products that cater to software programmers. Exactly. It's like such a universally used like phrase that it's like, come on. It's like an edit mode. Software products from giant companies like Apple iOS, Google Chrome, Microsoft Xbox have features normally called developer mode that then get nicknamed to dev mode in reference materials. Even dev mode itself is commonly used. For instance, Atlassian, getting flashbacks, like, war flashbacks. Kira, used it in products that predate Figma's copyright by years. Okay, yeah. And it's got a common feature name in countless open source software projects. Figma tells TechCrunch that its trademark refers only to shortcut dev mode. Only to the shortcut dev mode. Not the full term developer mode. Okay, that makes it better, I guess. Still, it's a bit like trademarking the term bug referring to debugging. Since Figma wants to own the term, it has little choice but to send cease and desist letters. Yes, because you have to. There's like some fucking copyright thing where it's like, I can't remember who did it like years ago, but like some other company was like doing it. Even though you don't use the term dev mode or whatever, like if you own the copyright, you have to like enforce it. Otherwise, someone else could like go and like make a case to being like, hey, they're not like using the term or like they're not enforcing it or something. So like I want it or some shit. The letter on X pointed out Jesus Christ. The letter, as many on X pointed out, was very polite too. Figma doesn't defend the term, it could be absorbed as a generic term and trademark becomes unenforceable. Yep. So like they literally have to if they want to keep it. Yeah, they're allowed to make use of it, which they are, and defend it to keep it. Otherwise they could lose it. Dear Lovable, I'm the general counsel of Figma. Figma is the owner of dev mode trademark, the mark, which has been used extensively around the world in connection with our software platform. We're flattered that you agree dev mode is the ideal name for a software tool that helps bridge the gap between design and development, but as inventors and entrepreneurs, we're sure you can understand that we need to protect our intellectual property. Bro, this is like it is very nice and like I do appreciate that, but it's kind of like feel like we have to do it. Like we're sorry, like we have to if we want to keep, like we ask that you please cease all use of dev mode in connection with your products and services, rename your tool, and remove all references to our mark from your website, marketing materials, and other public facing content. We'd like to resolve this amicably so that we can each get back to building great products for our customers. Please write back as soon as possible to let me know you've agreed to this request. Bro, I need the source of this. Schema? Bro, no way. Summit? Config? Forge? Nothing great is made alone. Like, these are kind of bullshit ones. Like, how could you even trademark just a term like that? I swear I thought you had to, like, trademark it in the context or something. Like, I don't know. Some on the internet argue that the term is already generic, should never have been allowed to be trademarked. Yeah, I think I agree with that. And levels should fight. I think I agree with that. I mean, if we're just looking at those other terms, like, those other terms should not have, if this is the case, I don't know. This is fucking AI. Like, this is just, so I'm just, don't know if this is the case, but if this is the case, these are kind of, not Figma, but like schema, config, like, I don't think you should be able to copyright those. Lovable's co-founder and CEO, Anton Osaka, tells TechCrunch that for now, his company has no intention of honoring Figma's demand and changing the feature's name. Just straight up. We'll see if Figma escalates. It also has other things on its mind. On Tuesday, Figma announced it had filed for confidential paperwork for IPO. However, should Figma pursue legal action, taking on an international legal battle might be pricey for the early stage Swedish startup Lovable, which raised a $15 million seed round in February. Yeah, bro, Lovable can't fucking afford a startup. Yeah, it's like, they may be standing up to them, but in reality, they're like, bro, we just can't even, we can't afford to pay the legal fees. What's more interesting is that Lovable is one of the rising stars in the so-called vibe coding. That's where users... Bro, what the fuck is happening outside? Like there's a race happening. I thought it was someone like power washing or blowing or some shit. That's where users can describe what they want in a text prompt, and then the product builds it, complete with code. Its dev mode, quote, feature was launched a few weeks ago and allows users to edit that code. Lovable advertises itself as a competitor to Figma. Really? Oh, okay. So yeah, because Lovable, I see. Lovable's like mainly a front end. I mean, it says full stack, but I think it kind of competes with like V0, which is by Vercel, who's also like a they're like a host like a platform type company, tech company, I guess. And also bolt.dev, Replit, vibe coding, AI coding startups. I think it's crazy that they advertise itself as a competitor to Figma. I have heard talk from like more like front end designer, engineer types that with AI, like you don't really need Figma as much because you could kind of describe what you want to like to tools like Lovable, and it'll give you a UI, and then you could just iterate on that. And that's kind of like Figma's good for like prototyping and like, you know, testing and shit. And like now AI can just kind of do it for you. And then if you want, you could even like import it into Figma, but realistically, like you just import it into like the code you're using and then iterate like that. I have heard that like people don't need or like dropping Figma, but that's probably like for those like super like hardcore AI bros. Declaring on its homepage that designers can use Lovable without tedious prototyping work in tools like Figma. And many newly launched startups are doing just that. So this isn't just a trademark dispute, it's also a bigger competitor cracking its knuckles at a pesky upstart. Figma was valued at $12.5 billion about a year ago. A Figma spokesperson almost admits as such. The person told TechCrunch that Figma has not sent cease and desist letters to other tech companies over the term, like Microsoft, because their products are in different categories of goods and services. Okay, so this is the case. I was wondering, like, so it's like just because that it's like within the relative category of what like their dev mode means is like prototyping UIs, I guess, like front end stuff. Bro, that's crazy. Bro, today's just like fucking competition. It's like today's theme is competition. Meta, FTC versus Meta, NVIDIA. I guess NVIDIA not really, but I guess the government thwarting competition by imposing export restrictions. Figma cease and desisting over a word because, you know, based to their competition. Like, I don't know. And Lovable's Osaka is ready to throw a few punches of his own, telling TechCrunch that he thinks Figma should focus on making their product great and not on trademark marketing. He also tells TechCrunch that Lovable is successfully winning customers away from Figma and other such design tools in the era before LLMs. Yeah, this is definitely the case. That's for the overall threat of vibe coding products. In a conversation last month with Y Combinator's Gary Tan, Figma co-founder and CEO Dylan Field naturally poo-pawed the idea. Poo-pooed. What the fuck is this word? Reject? Bro, it's an official, like, what?
Poo-poo.
Reject with contempt. Express contempt about. Field said that even though people like vibe coding for its speed, you also want to give people a way to not just get started and prototype rapidly, but also get to the finish line. That's where the disconnect is, and not just for design, but also for code. Yeah. I don't really know like how this plays into Figma, I guess, though. Still Osaka. I sort of said his name like different every time. I can't remember. Also seems ready to compete. When he shared a copy of the Figma letter on X, he used the grinning emoji. Dang. Startup drama. Like, this is literally Silicon Valley. Like, it's so funny, like, how, like, the show is just actually how real life is. Maybe less exaggerated. Sometimes not even, though. Let's be real. I said let's be real a lot this episode, or this stream. Okay. Let me find something on OpenAI's O3. O3 and o4-mini. We'll take a look at this. We might take a look at this a different day. It's a little too long right now. Okay, let's try and find bro. I like this David Shapiro guy. Like, he was kind of like made like post-labor economics, but like ironically, he's become one of the hype guys, and he's just like oh, AI solved this. Like, it's, you know, like in the 4chan hack. Too close to David Shapiro, yeah. Dave Shapiro, yeah. I also, the 4chan hack has been interesting too. I don't want to really cover it on here. Dang, Y Combinator's CEO Gary Tan has said that about a quarter of the current YC startups, 95% of the code is written by AI. Like, bro, I literally missed the live stream. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do I keep missing these? It's like, if you're not fucking terminally online, like scrolling Twitter constantly. Okay, let's just go through this thread. This is like, seems to be the official way that they just announce things now. Okay, interesting. OpenAI O3 and o4-mini are smartest and most capable models to date. Now, just literally yesterday or the day before, they released GPT 4.1, which they said is specifically for coding. Also, naming is super confusing because they already released GPT 4.5. So now what are we, 4.1? Now we're on O3. Ugh. For the first time, our reasoning models can agentically use and combine every tool within ChatGPT, including web search, Python, image analysis, file interpretation, and image generation. Now that is a powerful combo. Let's watch this video here. Thinking with images. In there was with GPT 4.0, the new image generation with 4.0, the kind of way that people have been describing like how they're doing it is kind of like it was able to kind of think like with images like in like a pixel space. And that's kind of how it was able to like it was able to like generate code better, and like it feed in, you could give it the image like and transfer into like the Studio Ghibli whatever, because it was able to kind of like think better on like within the confines of like an image. So now it seems like they're just straight up doing like saying it. Looks like an airport. I took this picture earlier today. Can you find the name of the biggest ship you can see and where it will dock next? Bro, no way. I mean, these are like handpicked, let's be real, but how would it identify that? How long does it? Yeah, bro, it probably thought for fucking an hour. O3, when they released it like earlier, because I think o3-mini exists. It was like some of the benchmarks they thought for like 3 hours. Like, bro, what? Okay. We also have them, so we'll test them out here. Hang on, sorry. Okay. You just write a photo and ask for the biggest ship visible. Its name. Name of the ship. It might be too small or too far away without specialized tools for ship recognition. We need to rely on AIS tracking since the photo could be from the San Francisco Bay Area, given the resembling Pier 15 in the Exploratorium. Okay, so now it searched the web while it's thinking. Now it's analyzing the image. It's zooming in. Enhance. It's like enhance. Bro, this is actually kind of crazy. Like, look, it's doing several web searches. Now it's like, okay, it's not showing the ship list. So like, okay, let's try again. That was impressive. Okay. OpenAI O3 is a powerful model across multiple domains, setting a new standard for coding, math, science, and visual reasoning tasks. O4-mini is a remarkably smart model for its speed and cost efficiency. This allows it to support significantly higher usage limits than O3. Okay. And this might be a trend. I'm noticing a pattern. They released like O1. They released like a mini version of the next one, and then when they release the next one, they release a mini, and then they release a full version. So like they released O3-mini previously. They also released like O1 and O1-mini. And then now they're releasing the full version, and then the next one of a mini. And so then, what it probably means that like they're still probably like working on O4, but they want like some testing data, so like they'll release O4-mini, which is a lot cheaper to run. Also, wonder if this is on the API and how much it costs. O4-mini is a remarkably smart model for its speed and cost efficiency. This allows it to support significantly higher usage limits than O3, making it a strong, high volume, high throughput option for every one with questions that benefit from reasoning. OpenAI O3 and O4-mini are our first models to integrate uploading images directly into their chain of thought. This means that they don't just see an image, they think with it. That's like, I mean, that's like a little. Their website is like crashing right now. I can't even load it. What should we ask? What should we ask? O3 or o4-mini. There's also o4-mini high, so this is probably better, more usage of it. Dang, it's like I kind of like shit on OpenAI a lot because I just don't like how they're like kind of like big AI, I guess, and like I don't like Sam Altman and kind of his like transactional nature, and I don't know. I guess like the whole like persona, but like I can't deny that like they clearly keep fucking releasing the best models. You know, it's like it sucks, but ChatGPT Plus Pro and Team users will see O3, o4-mini, and o4-mini High in the model selector starting today, replacing O1. Oh, they just straight up replacing them. O3-mini and o3-mini High. So yeah, see, this is exactly the trend I was talking about. So this seems to kind of be like what they're doing now. Whoops. So interesting. ChatGPT Enterprise and EDU will gain full access in 1 week. Rate limits across all plans remain unchanged from the prior set models. What are the rate limits though? I can't even load the website. Oh, here we go. I got this one. Both OpenAI and O3 and o4-mini are also available to developers today by the Chat Completions API and responsibility. Okay, they are. Let's see how much they cost. What, bro? It's cheap. This is hella cheap. Holy shit. What the hell? That's so strange. It's so cheap. Wow. Like here's Grok 3, who's like X AI's Elon Musk's like, you know, best model, and it's three per input, 15 per output. It's like not even close. I think though they want to do this so that they get people to use it and they get more data, and they just kind of like are willing to take the cost just to get market share. Yeah, I want to try this Llama 4 Maverick, which is Llama's new model. Oh, they do have Scout on here. They don't have a. This Scout could, if you run it low, like theoretically, it could have a 10 million token context window, which is extremely high, but not on here. Probably costs too much money. Okay. Response API support reasoning summaries, the ability to preserve reasoning tokens. Okay. Yo, GPT-04 finally released. I mean, o3 Pro, sorry, 4-mini High. As a Pro Plus team user, I'm really excited. Yeah, bro, the fucking naming is getting so old. I don't know. I want to know what the rate limits actually are, though. Can't. Oh, there we go. Do they have a live stream? If they have a video, let's watch the video. Oh shit, Jerome Powell speaking? Yeah, let's watch this. Moving around too much. What is industrial AI? That sounds up my alley.
Hello and
Bro, fucking Samuel's not even here.
welcome. I'm Greg Brockman.
Oh, okay, they have Greg Brockman. That makes up for it. He's like co-founder.
Mark Chen, I lead research at OpenAI.
There are some models that feel like a qualitative step into the future.
We're 2x in this.
4 was one of those. Today is also going to be one of those days. We are going to be releasing two models, O3 and O4-mini. These are the first models where top scientists tell us they produce legitimately good and useful novel ideas. We've seen great results in law. Talking to one of my coworkers yesterday, he said that O3 came up with a great idea for system architecture. It's like we haven't really seen anything like this. And the thing that's really amazing about these models is that...
Okay, just one thing before to say. In the AI 2027 report, they theorized that OpenAI always has like significantly like better models like in their pipeline. Like they always have a model that is way better than the latest one that is released to the public behind the scenes. And I think I do believe that because it takes months, like it takes a long time to train, and so like they have to be like working on training these models like a long time, like months ago, potentially even like a year. So like these models could behind the scenes might have been like existed for like months, and then now they're just releasing them and so forth and so on. The fact that they're like talking about how like this is good, does like, or like, it's like producing the best results and they're using it internally. I mean, I'm sure they use all their models internally, but like for like actual like real stuff, like that's kind of interesting. I know that they are likely working on some sort of like if you think about I've used the analogy like robots building robots. It's like, okay, if you want to like have a robot army, the first robots you want to build are robots that could build robots. So like behind the scenes, like of OpenAI, it's like they want an AI that could help build and train AI. It's like they're probably working on something behind the scenes like that. And that's what in AI 2027, they kind of theorized that. So I do wonder how far, like what this model release, like how it actually is and compares to internal ones. And if they're using it like for like system architecture stuff, like that's, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Okay, let's watch.
They're not just models. They're really AI systems. We've trained them to use tools, which is not something that we have done.
Yeah, and the tool use thing, I guess that's like a huge step up too. Like that's interesting. Yeah.
Reasoning models. They actually use these tools in their chain of thought as they're trying to solve a hard problem. For example, we've seen O3 use like 600 tool calls in a row trying to solve a really hard task. And we're going to make
that's crazy though.
Models
Actually,
incrementally available starting today, rolling out as quickly as we can in our API and ChatGPT. And one thing that's very near and dear to my
wait,
heart
I actually want to ask it a question while we're watching this. Since it's law, let's actually let's do something. Since it has access to the internet, let's ask it for arguments on the FTC versus Zuckerberg case. You really talking about O3 or O4 that was good legal?
Tools, which is not something that we have done with our previous reasoning models. They actually use these tools in their chain of thought as they're trying to solve a hard problem. He said that O3 came up with a great idea for system architecture. It's like we haven't really seen anything like this. And the thing that's really amazing about these models is that they're not just models. They're really AI systems. We've trained them to use tools, which is not something that we have done.
So say, I want you to analyze the arguments on both sides for the recent FTC versus Meta antitrust case. Let's say who has the strongest arguments and who do you think is correct? Do you think this is politically driven or has basis as a legit or his basis is a legitimate case? I don't know. It's probably gonna think for like fucking 2 seconds, to be real. Also, I mean, I hope that it just doesn't pull like from I mean, if it just Google searches, if it just searches and then just pulls like opinion from like what other people said, like it's kind of just like. It's probably gonna take a while. It's probably fucking blocked up right now.
With our previous reasoning models. They actually use these tools in their chain of thought as they're trying to solve a hard problem. For example, we've seen O3 use like 600 tool calls in a row trying to solve a really hard task. And we're going to be making these models incrementally available starting today, rolling out as quickly as we can in our API and ChatGPT. And one thing that's very near and dear to my heart is their ability in software engineering, and not just producing sort of one-off pieces of code, but really working in real code bases. I found that these models are actually better than I am at navigating through our open.
Yeah, this is what they want. Like they want this, like, you know, like building an internal AI to build AI. It's like it is coding. Like that's what they're, you know, ultimately that's like what it comes down to in research.
Code base, which is really useful.
Definitely
Yes, but it just helps you get so much more done. And so we're really excited to bring these to the world and see what you all do with them.
The reason we're so excited about tool use is that it makes our reasoning models that much more useful and that much smarter. Just as you might use a calculator to solve a difficult math problem, or you might use a map app to navigate through unfamiliar streets, our models, when paired with the right tools, become that much more powerful. With that in mind, we combine our O-series reasoning models with our full suite of tools to achieve state-of-the-art results across a bunch of very hard benchmarks, including AMI, GPQA, Codeforces, and SweetBench. And just to illustrate the power of tools, it can also give a lot of new functionality. For instance, we now can have the models think with images. And what that means is that the model can use Python to manipulate, crop, and transform images in service of the task that you want to do. This means that today you can upload complicated images, you can upload blurry upside-down images, and the model will handle that without any problems. Now, these advancements are powered by continued algorithmic advances in our RL paradigm. We continue to scale both train time scaling and test time scaling. And one thing that makes me so excited about these models is just 1 or 2 weeks ago, I saw that there was a new paper in condensed matter physics, right? And it used o3-mini high to aid in the proof of a new unsolved theorem. And I really do believe that with this suite of models, O3 and O4-mini, we're going to see more advances like that. So here we have 2 of our researchers. We have Eric and Brandon, and they're going to show us a demo.
Hi, I'm Brandon McKinsey. I work on multimodal reasoning at OpenAI.
Hi, I'm Eric Mitchell. I work on post-training along with lots of other folks for our O-series models.
All right, we're going to show you some things that O3 can do. I'll start with a science example. So this will be a physics poster. So I'm going to let O3 start thinking now so it can take its time. What I'm going to feed it is a poster of some physics internship that I did in 2015, so 10 years ago. And this poster, or the project, was supposed to estimate a quantity called the proton isobector scalar charge. It's a beyond the standard model of particle physics quantity that tells you how short-range interactions, how strong they are. And what you'll see is that the model O3 is zooming in. It's kind of like browsing around. I'll zoom out just so we get a little bit better view. And it is kind of looking for the right quantities for the question I asked it, which is basically.
Oh, it's interesting. So it's like cropping in like certain parts of the paper to like identify ones that are correct. I guess what's even the point though? Why can't I just like read in the entire paper?
Find this result that I had and compare it to recent literature. But there's a small twist. The result actually isn't in the poster, and that's because I didn't have it yet. So although it's in like the final paper for this project, it's not in this poster, and I'm actually asking O3 to do the rest of the project for me essentially.
He uses the same trick OpenAI.
Yeah, it's true. Great. So I found the plot that I wanted to find. It's supposed to figure out that.
I wonder what it's like working at these AI companies. Like it's just like is everything just AI generated, you know? Like it's like I don't know. Like how much?
It needs to like find the slope of this plot, extrapolate down to a specific like physical core mass, and then like grab that quantity, and then actually apply another quantity to normalize that value. And I think it has already kind of figured out that this is what it should do, but it is just spending a little bit more time exploring the image. Okay, it's good. It's now going to browse the web for recent results.
Yeah, why is it searching the web?
Well, I think I actually did I ask you? I said, oh yeah, find any recent findings of like updated estimates. So now it's like just looking at like the literature and seeing what people have done and how it compares to the result that it thinks that I eventually arrived at.
How long do you think it would take you to do this task?
Quite a long time. Yeah, so I mean, it took me a long time just to remember what my poster even meant in the first place. And also, I also didn't even realize that the result wasn't there when I first asked it this question. It actually told me that, which was nice. So many days just for me to even like onboard myself back to my project, and then a few days more probably to actually like search through the literature. And I mean, it must have just read at least like 10 different papers in a few seconds for me. So that's a huge time savings. Great. So it has summarized my result here, and these numbers look correct to me. So it's figured out like there's like this unnormalized value that's like estimated by extrapolating, and that when you multiply by this specific constant, that it will renormalize it. And it says, okay, you would have ended up with this, which is somewhat close. I think I ended up around like 1.2 in my paper. And then it compares with the actual literature here. So there's a few different estimates, and looks a little close, I'd say. So let's see what it says. It says my bear value looks high because it needs to be renormalized. That's correct. After you multiply by that, you get something that's more consistent with the state-of-the-art results. That's great. But it says my precision isn't as good as the state-of-the-art, which is fine. You know, it was an internship.
Not bad.
Exactly. So I'll take it. So it seems like it's still a reasonable estimate that maybe has a little bit more uncertainty than recent results, which is great. So the field has made progress, which is awesome to see.
That's such a cool example.
Cool. Now I'll hand off to Eric for his example.
Cool. Yeah, it's tough to go after a demo like that, but I'm gonna show another aspect of O3's capabilities that I also think is super cool. As Mark and Greg have said, one of the cool things about these models is they can use all of the tools that we have available in ChatGPT. So I just turned on memory.
Like his example is like cool, but like that's very like I think just to show like it's smart and like thinking, but I don't know. Are most people going to be using it for that?
For this model, so the model knows a few things about me, and I'll get this one started as well. And so you know, as people have said.
Just want you to know me, read the news and teach me about something that's relevant to at least 2 of my interests, but also esoteric enough that I probably don't already know it, Include some graphical plots showing some interesting stats, relationship data in your response. Drop to post. Interesting. Okay.
Models are super smart, which is really, really great, and they can help us with even cutting edge research in all sorts of fields. But even if you're not literally a researcher in particle physics, this new intelligence and these sort of more agentic kind of abilities to use tools is still useful, and it can still be very valuable for you as well. And so what I've asked O3 here is just based on what you know about me, so it has access to memories now. Read the news and teach me something that I probably didn't know, but that I would find really cool in particular. And so this is going to involve knowing something about me, but also doing some of this agentic thinking and tool use to look up some potentially relevant interesting things. And here I've also asked it to actually plot some some data or information that I could put in a blog post if I wanted to tell people about this cool new fact. And so what it's done here is some of my interests are scuba diving and playing music. And so it's sort of combined these interests, and it's actually found this line of research that was actually kind of mind-blowing to me, which I didn't know about until I actually was working on this demo, where researchers actually make recordings of healthy coral reefs, and then they literally play back those recordings underwater with an underwater speaker, and that actually accelerates the settlement of new coral and even fish
What
to
the
sort of grow
fuck?
that coral reef and have it regenerate more quickly.
That's
and
so strange.
This is like an actual line of research in like coral reef preservation, and it was very cool sort of synthesis of like both like underwater exploration and also music. And so here we have a nice blog post of the model is sort of smoothly both browsing. It's using advanced data analysis to show and plot some data for me. It's using Canvas to generate a blog post, and it's summarizing at the end with some citations, what it found and where it got those results from. So again, these models are super smart, which is awesome. I'm really excited about it. And I think this new intelligence and sort of ability to use tools will be useful whether you are literally at the frontiers of some scientific field, or you are integrating this model in your everyday workflows.
I wonder if like you can maybe play sound for a physicist too, and improve their results.
Yeah, should we play what?
Yeah, the sound of a healthy
Physicists, what does healthy physicists sound like, Brendan?
I'll look into that. I'll ask O3.
Cool. Thank you guys both for showing these really compelling demos. Next we'll have Wenda, and we'll have Ananya come on and talk a little bit about how the models are trained and also what the evals are like.
Great. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Thank you both.
Okay, it actually came back with it thought for 50 seconds, which is longer than I thought, about the FTC versus Meta antitrust case. Variety of sources. See, it already. It's asking for the 2024 one? No, it's 2025. Bro, like. Okay. Okay, they got it. I hate how it says my name like this. I don't know why. It's just like Brady. The political climate is important here, as this case started under Trump. Okay, what is this case? A quick recap. It's giving me the fucking like U.S. code, statutes, the theory. Had a personal social networking service monopoly in the U.S., buying Instagram up to 2012. Plus policies for app developers cemented the monopoly, hurt competition invasion. The agency wants a court order forcing Meta device apps. Judge James Boasberg let the amendment complaint survive 2 motions to dismiss and opened a bench trial on April 14th. So as key arguments, this table's kind of new. I've not seen it do this, and it has like citations in the table. Market definition, yeah. Personal social networking. The real market is all social digital communication time. Facebook, Instagram compete head-to-head with TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, iMessage. Interesting. Documents internal emails out in language threat mindset. The remedy fits the theory. If the court accepts the narrowly drawn market, the forced overtures are textbook fix. Market definition precedents. Legal odds. Meta's market definition argument given edge unless the FTC convinces the court that friends and family sharing is a distinct antitrust market. The agency is unlikely to meet the monopoly power prong. This is cool. Neo brand. What the fuck? The tech intro is rocked in today's political optics. Both progressive neo-Brandisians and Trump-era populists want to rein in big tech, while Meta's lobbying, including high profiles, keeps spotlight on politics. Bro, no way Zuckerberg's playing this fucking mind game where he's like pretending to go to Trump and like make it seem like it's like trying to be political, but it's not. My verdict. Alright, this is O3's verdict. If Judge Boasberg sticks with traditional market definition analysis, Meta is more likely to not prevail. If he accepts the FTC's more than not More than not to prevail. Okay, it's more than likely not to wait. If he accepts SEC's narrow market definition, the evidence of buy-bearish conduct is potent enough that a partial or full debenture is possible. I'm confused about this one. Either way, the trial itself has already reached. Okay, I mean, like, I guess we didn't really learn like much, but it's still cool. I guess it, like, you could see its chain of thought. It did a bunch of searches, then I thought about it, did some more. The fact that it actually pulled up Wikipedia. It's neat. Okay, let's continue this video.
Yeah, it's super incredible.
It really
It's
is.
knowledge work, and also, even if you're just doing something that's highly personalized, it's very useful.
And to me, the magic is that under the hood, it's still just next token prediction.
Yeah.
It's just a model that's just thinking about what should come next.
With sprinkles of it all.
Exactly. We changed the objective, we changed where the data come from, and now we're able to really hook it up to the world.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm a researcher at OpenAI, and I work on scanning RL systems.
I'm Ananya. I'm a researcher at OpenAI, and I work on some of the algorithms for these models. So we wanted to start out by showing some results on standard benchmarks for these models in math, coding, and science. So in these plots, the dark yellow bars are the new set of models, and the light yellow bars are the old set of models. And we see a pretty substantial boost. So on AMI, which is a hard math contest, o4-mini gets 99% accuracy with tools, pretty much saturating the eval. On code forces,
Yeah, then what's he? I mean, bro, every single fucking time I toggle benchmarks now, I'm like, bro, benchmarks are like worthless. Let's be real. Like, they're literally, the benchmark's irrelevant. Like, they're just scoring 100%. Like, what does it even tell us now?
these models get over 2,700, which places them in the top 200 contestants in the world. And GTQA is a set of hard PhD level questions, and O3 gets over 83%, which is pretty incredible.
Pretty good.
We want to go beyond the eval numbers, which are incredible, and show you a bit how our model uses tools in order to solve those problems. So here, for example, we have a problem from the AMI math contest. And the problem here is asking you to look at this grid of 2 by 2 squares and count the number of combinations of coloring that verify some constraints. And
Bring scores from 2 to...
see how the model does it.
Yeah, so the way the model thinks is really cool. So it starts out by producing a brute force program, and then runs it using a Python interpreter. And it gets the right answer, which is
Fuck yeah, just brute force it.
82. But this is messy, right? It's pretty inelegant. And the model recognizes that, and then simplifies its solution, and comes up with a smarter way of doing things. It then also double-checks its answer to increase its reliability, which is kind of neat. Now, these models are not just trained to output the right answer, they're also trained to be useful. So in this case, it now gives the solution in words to explain it to a human. What I found really cool here was we didn't train the model to use certain strategies directly. We didn't say, simplify your solution or double check. It just organically learns to do these things, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's super cool. It comes up with essentially the intelligent solution here that a human will be able to do, whereas the first brute force solution, of course, you would never have time to do that in the actual contest. So beyond math science, we also want to share, a lot of you, I know, use these models for coding. I want to share some practical coding benchmarks, some sweet answers, sweet bunch, and a polyglot. We achieve state-of-the-art results with the model when it's allowed to use tools and to end without any harness or any specific things like this. And to illustrate a bit more, I want to share a sweet bench example.
Bro, I love this benchmark where it's like dollars earned. Freelance coding tasks, like...
things like this. And to illustrate a bit more, I want to share a sweet bench example with all of you. So for this example, I'm running it with o3 in the API with access to the container tool. Unfortunately, it will take us a couple more weeks to put the final polish on a tool running in the API, and so you won't be able to run this today, but I want to share this because I'm so excited about how the model is using the tool. So the problem the model is asked to tackle is the following. It's concerning a bug in this package called SymPy, which is a Python package which is used to manipulate symbolic mathematics. And I'm prompting the model with the question, and I'm also giving the model access to a container, which is a virtual machine, with the SymPy repository preloaded. So the model
Okay, like... He's like, okay, here's something you could do, but you can't do it in 4 weeks. And also, it has this like virtual machine that like you probably can't do like with the Earth, but like it's like
has access to a shell with all the code right there, and the model will have to figure out the bug. So the cool thing is that the model starts by just double checking what I'm saying and seeing whether it observes the same thing. Like I would do when someone bugs me about something, I'm just going to check, is it actually a problem? And the model does see, oh yeah, it seems to print out a max of 2x with the round brackets and the square brackets.
I bug Wendell a lot, and he does that.
And he always has good questions though, so yeah. And then after this, just to double check, it will check that sign is now rendering correctly. So this is the square brackets, it's the internal behavior, that's the bug we're trying to fix essentially. And so the model will go around and browse the code and try to kind of get the lay of the land of the repository. And to do this, it just uses common terminal tools that Ananya and me might use in our day-to-day work. So like it lists the files, it opens the file with sed, and it will kind of print out the relevant files and try to find what it's looking for. After some browsing, eventually the model figures out that maybe it can check this thing called the MRO, which is a Python construct that tells you about the inheritance of the class. And then based on the previous knowledge that the model has acquired, it notices that something is wrong and this class does not inherit from function but from application. And so the model browses around it a bit more and eventually figures out that there's a good solution here. We can change this file to implement this. So it uses a PyPatch, applies a patch, and then hopefully this is the right solution. Finally, to confirm this, the model runs a unit test just like any good engineer would to double check that it has gotten the right thing, and it sees that indeed now it's printing with the square brackets. So this was a really cool route, and it's really cool to see the model kind of arranging this all by its own. This route was actually on the shorter side of Sweetbench, and there were about 22 interactions and 16,000 tokens.
okay, that's not that bad. 16,000 tokens, like for like a single interaction, that's a lot, but like that's not that much. If we look at the pricing, like it's cost like pennies here. That's actually a lot better like than I thought.
In some cases, the model uses more than 100 container interactions, and on average, it uses 37. So it's pretty cool that it can do these long rollouts with so many container interactions and get the right answer.
Yeah, doing a rollout that long with reliability is not trivial at all.
It's really hard. Yeah. We also wanted to show some numbers for standard multimodal benchmarks, and these numbers are just crazy on MMMU, MathVista, Charchive, and VStar. So we really hope these models are useful for your multimodal tasks as well.
Yeah, this is really, applying the reasoning paradigm to multimodal, which was previously not possible, and now, as Brandon demoed, the model is able to manipulate the image directly in the chain of thought, and that leads to a huge increase in capability for multimodal. Yeah, finally, I want to share another few evals that we run externally. So Human Task Exam, as you can see, our o3 model is able to get close to deep research, but o3 will run much faster, and of course, we have much fewer limits in ChatGPT if you're using it in ChatGPT. So we think it's a very cool model if you do not need a full report like what deep research produces, but instead are still interested in some agentic behavior to help you grab information.
Yeah, I feel like deep research, it's like sometimes it is way too much, and it's like a formal report when it's like you kind of just want something a little more casual, but still with like depth. That's good. That's good.
So in these plots, we show the performance on the y-axis against the estimated inference cost on the x-axis, and we see that o4-mini is quite a bit better than o3-mini for any given inference cost.
Additionally, one thing that's not shown here is that o4-mini is a multimodal model, unlike o3-mini. So if you need a small and fast multimodal reasoning model, yeah, I'm very excited for you guys to try out o4-mini.
The results for O3 are even more stark. You can see that it can get the same performance with way less inference costs. And if you're willing to pay the same amount as O1, then you get a much higher score. So these are pretty amazing models.
And this is why we're going to replace the O1 models with the new ones.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
One thing we should mention quickly is that due to of the optimizations we've done to make the reasoning more cost efficient and also the model more useful in general, it is not as benchmark optimized as the numbers we shared for the 12 days of Christmas. So there might be some small disparities up and down. It generates on up in multimodal, for example. We still think that this is a much better model because it's much more optimized for real-world use cases, and you won't have to wait as long when you're asking for an answer, which is a real thing with these reasoning models.
People are impatient.
I am impatient.
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh.
So these models are a result of a lot of rigor, science, ingenuity, and craftsmanship. And we put in more than 10 times the training compute of O1 to produce O3.
I wonder how long it took to do that. Dang, 10 times. Dang.
And it was a lot of hard work by lots and lots of people, but the end result was really beautiful to see. As we scaled up compute on the x-axis, the performance on evals like Amy just kept going up.
Yeah, so this is really us, going and retracing our steps through the GPT series, right, which was this kind of predictable scaling and pre-training. And now the goal is really we're trying to get through this scaling in RL and showing that as we put in more RL compute, we're also able to get commensurate gains. Yeah.
So what will O4 look like?
Yeah, I think if you just broad line, 110%.
You heard it here first.
Great. We're so excited for you to try out the model.
Thank you. So we've shown you the models, but we have one more special surprise. Here to show that to you are Fuad and Michael.
Who?
Hi, I'm Fuad on the Agents Research team.
Oh.
I'm Michael, also on Agents Research. I remember seeing
I said Michael from Fuad or
a couple
something.
years ago the Codex demo, and it's just so wild to see how far we've come with these new sweet bench numbers.
Yeah, that model in that demo was kind of the first time that anyone had seen what is now called vibe coding. What a great term! I wish we had it at the time. And we called that model Codex because it really captures the fact that code is so integral to what we were trying to train the model to do.
Yeah.
So today, what we're going to show you.
And that's definitely what internally like they just like building robots that build robots. They want AI to build AI. The coding models are that for them.
Is the continuation of the Codex legacy. We're going to be releasing a series of applications that we think will define what the future of programming looks like. And today we're starting
Interesting.
with the first one.
Great, yeah. Today we're excited to share Codex CLI. It's a lightweight interface to connect our models to our users and their computers. You can think of it like a reference implementation for how to safely
So is this like Claude Code or Claude Computer use?
deploy code executing agents where you need them. It's built on top of public APIs like the Responses API, taking advantage of new features like chain of thought summaries in that API, and our latest models like O3 and O4-mini with multimodal reasoning capabilities. But enough talk, let's actually see a demo. Michael?
Awesome. So I went online to see what people had built with o3-mini, and so I found this cool image to ASCII generator. The author.
Oh yes. Okay, this is so funny because like I do need this. I've been looking for image to ASCII generators that are good, and I've had trouble finding them. And I tried to use AI, but it doesn't really know what it's doing. It always makes some like weird ass picture. It's actually kind of creepy when you ask AI to like draw things. It always draws it like weird. Like it's like what the like where'd you come up with this? Whatever. Anyways,
I'm pretty sure they meant o3-mini. So
Unless they're time travel.
yeah, right. And so so I thought today we would re-implement this using Codex and o4-mini just from the post. And so
he used one to instead code it to do it. Fuck, bro, why was I not thinking about that?
actually, but just by taking a screenshot. And I'll take the screenshot and I'll drag it to my terminal.
No, I'll use Ghosty.
And so give it to Codex. And so as you can see, I passed it in using the image flag. And so Codex will start using.
Okay. No way it codes it from that image though.
that multimodal reasoning that we saw earlier from o4-mini.
And one amazing thing about using these models directly on your computers, you can take any file, any code base that you're working in, just go and grab that, put it into Codex, and here you can actually see some of that chain of thought that we were talking about earlier. It's asking for some clarifying questions, thinking about things, and then it actually looked at the image and even suggested a few things that we might want to do with it. What did you have in mind?
I mean, I thought we would just re-implement what we saw in post.
Yeah, but I mean, since we're live, maybe we'll make it a little bit more fun. Let's add the web camera API, and just for the folks watching on the live stream, maybe let's make sure we keep it in the 16:9. I don't want some really small little video, but I'm going to go try that.
That sounds bold, but I like it. All right, so it's going.
So while it's thinking, I think one of the amazing things about Codex is that you can actually see it both think and also run the tools directly on your machine. So like what they mentioned earlier with function calling in the API, you can actually expose any of the existing functions that you would use, and in the future we'll have the full suite of tools you'll be able to use in the API. And while it's thinking, maybe talk
I wonder if it's functions, or you could use like the model context protocol with like Claude, which is popular for tool use.
How it actually runs the commands. We can start to see it actually running some commands now.
Yeah, so by default, Codex runs in what we call suggest mode. And so as it's running, it suggests commands to edit, or commands to run, or files to edit, and you get to approve each one. But that can get a bit tedious. And so for the sake of the demo, I ran it in what we call full auto mode.
Yeah, and a little bit about full auto mode. It's a mode where you can allow the agent to go off and do its work, but still stay safe and secure. So it's able to run commands, network disabled, and limit the edits that it makes to the directory that you ran it in. So it gives you the peace of mind of actually having something that can go off and do things, but without the risks that come with just letting it run whatever command it wants. And it looks like it's pretty.
Okay, that sounds like that is one like thing about running all these like local like agents with like tool use. It's like it just seems like it's a disaster waiting to happen, I guess.
It's already done.
It's already done.
So,
So,
pull it up?
yeah, so it's had to create this ASCII HTML file. So let's go pull that up. Gotta give it some permissions.
Always need some permissions.
And let's see.
Oh, that's just like,
Nice.
I was like, it even had a little whip slider.
Let's see.
Not quite what I thought a whip slider would do.
Oh, but it's low res us.
I do love the low res version. So, Mark, you want to say hi?
There we go. Nice.
Amazing.
That's cool.
So as you can see, it's so fun to use Codex. We've been using Codex to actually build Codex, and we're incredibly excited to see what you do with
Yeah,
it.
using Codex to build Codex.
Now that it's fully available. And not only is the tool available, but we're also open sourcing all the code. So you can go up as a few minutes ago to our GitHub, OpenAI/Codex, and go check it out. You can even use Codex to explain the repo to you. We're incredibly excited to see what you do. Alongside Codex CLI, we're also announcing a $1 million open source initiative to support projects with API credits using our latest models, using Codex CLI to accelerate the frontier of open source. We'll have a link in our research blog post for more information, but with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Mark.
Thank you both.
Yeah. Thank you both so much. I want to talk a little bit more about ChatGPT availability. So starting today, if you're a Pro Plus Team subscriber, we're going to start rolling out access to O3, O4-mini, and O4-mini High. And as you saw from Ananya's post, these are strictly better than the previous generation of models, so they will be replacing the O1 and O3-mini series of models that we had before. You're going to have to wait a week if you are Enterprise or EDU. And if you use O1 Pro today and you love it, we are going to roll out O3 Pro, but it will take us some time to make sure all of the last remaining features are tied up.
We are also releasing these models in the API. In upcoming weeks, we will release tool usage in the API as well. So that will be really exciting to see what people do with them. These models, huge amount of work making them available from the entire team. And so it's been a real labor of love to bring these to the world. And we really view them as a major step forward in our mission of bringing AGI to benefit all of humanity. And so they're very useful for scientific applications, but we also think that they will be useful in your daily life. And so please use them, explore what they're capable of, and we're just so excited to see what you'll do with them. Thank you.
Thank you to the team.
Sweet. All right, curious to see what people do. It seems cool so far. Like the fact that it could think and search multiple times is already, if nothing else, that's just a step up. I do want to know like when their knowledge cutoff is. It seems to be 2024 still, unfortunately. Likely because, like I was saying, like they're probably have been training these for months, and then they have to like do tuning and shit for months again, and so it's like, a lot of the data is still outdated, unfortunately. But cool. O4-mini High. All right, that's gonna do it for today's stream. We'll be back tomorrow 9 a.m. for some more news. Might look at some space startups tomorrow. Feeling like some space stuff. Yeah. Appreciate everyone showing up, hanging out, and we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully maybe there's more news with the FTC versus Meta actually. Yeah. Alright, see ya.